John Zawahiri opened fire at a college campus, Adam Lanza slaughtered first graders at Sandy Hook, and Salvador Ramos barricaded himself inside an elementary school.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, move!
Here are 10 school shooters who never made it out alive. John Zawahiri, Santa Monica College, 2013. On June 7, 2013, John Zawahiri, a 23-year-old Santa Monica resident, embarked on a shooting spree that would claim 6 lives before ending in a hail of police gunfire. The violence began at his family home, where Zawahiri killed his father Samir, 55, and brother Christopher, 25, before setting the house ablaze. The methodical nature of these murders demonstrated premeditation, as he eliminated potential obstacles while ensuring evidence destruction through arson. Zawahiri then carjacked Laura Sisk, forcing her to drive towards Santa Monica College while he continued shooting from the vehicle. During this mobile phase, he fired indiscriminately at vehicles and pedestrians, creating widespread terror. Among his victims were Carlos Navarro Franco, 68, a groundskeeper, and his daughter Marcela Diaz Franco, 26.
Moving towards the library, he fatally shot another woman outside and continued his rampage within the college premises, firing over 70 rounds.
Zawahiri was equipped with an AR-15 type rifle, a .44 caliber revolver, and wore a tactical vest with 40 large-capacity magazines. His arsenal suggested preparation for an extended siege. At Santa Monica College Library, campus police officers Robert Sparks, Jason Salas, and Captain Ray Bottenfield engaged him in a gunfight. The 3 officers showed remarkable courage confronting a heavily armed assailant who had already demonstrated lethal intent. The autopsy revealed Zawahiri sustained 25 gunshot wounds during the confrontation, indicating the intensity of the firefight. He had been legally prohibited from possessing firearms due to prior mental health evaluations, including a 2006 hospitalization after being found searching for assault weapons online. These warning signs had gone unaddressed, highlighting systemic failures in preventing dangerous individuals from accessing weapons. The 15-minute rampage ended with Zawahiri carried outside, where he died on the sidewalk. His death prevented what could have been greater tragedy, but the issue of delayed police response would become central to another tragic shooting in Texas. Salvador Ramos, Robb Elementary School, Uvalde, 2022. On May 24, 2022, Salvador Rolando Ramos, 18, killed 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School before being killed by law enforcement. Described as a loner who had been bullied, Ramos had legally purchased 2 AR-15-style rifles shortly after turning 18. His transformation from troubled teenager to mass killer shocked the small Texas community that had known him since childhood. The shooting began when Ramos shot his grandmother before driving to the elementary school. This initial act of domestic violence followed a pattern seen in many mass shooting cases. He entered the building and barricaded himself in connected classrooms 111 and 112. The systematic approach to blocking exits and preparing defensive positions demonstrated tactical planning that made the situation more dangerous for both victims and responders.
Dude, we gotta get in there. We gotta get in there. He just keeps shooting.
More officers arrive on that side of the campus. They're captured on Jesus Mendoza's body cam.
Police department! It's the police!
As they begin searching classrooms for students, DPS rescues the boy who initially spotted the gunman hiding in the restroom. He's rushed out to safety. On the opposite end of the campus was Officer Coronado. When he first stormed into the building, you see a dust cloud after the shooter fired his first 100 rounds. 20 minutes later, his camera gives us a look at the rescue effort underway.
Go, run over there!
As students pulled out of windows to safety. At 12:21, nearly an hour after first officers arrived on scene, more shots are fired.
The law enforcement response became highly controversial and subject to intense scrutiny. Rather than immediately confronting the shooter, officers cordoned off the school and waited, allowing the shooting to continue for approximately 74 minutes. This delay violated established active shooter protocols, emphasizing immediate engagement to minimize casualties. During this extended period, children and teachers remained trapped with an active shooter. The United States Border Patrol Tactical Unit, BORTAC, finally breached the classroom where Ramos had barricaded himself. During the confrontation, Ramos emerged from a closet firing at officers before being fatally shot. Officers fired a total of 35 rounds during the final confrontation. The volume of gunfire in those final moments contrasted starkly with the lengthy period of inaction. The 74-minute delay sparked intense criticism and investigations, raising questions about training and prioritizing officer safety over civilian lives. The final death toll of 19 children and 2 adults made it one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. However, rapid response isn't always delayed, as we'll see in Nashville. Audrey Hale, The Covenant School, Nashville, 2023. On March 27, 2023, Audrey Hale, a 28-year-old former student of the Covenant School, entered the Nashville Elementary School and killed 6 people before being shot dead by police. As a former student, Hale had intimate knowledge of the building's layout and security procedures. This personal connection to the institution made the attack particularly devastating for the school community, as staff members remembered Hale from years past. Evidence recovered included detailed maps of the school, surveillance notes, and a manifesto. The extensive planning materials demonstrated that this was not a spontaneous act, but a carefully orchestrated attack developed over time. Hale had been under treatment for an emotional disorder and had legally purchased 7 firearms. The ability to acquire such an arsenal while receiving mental health treatment raised questions about background check systems and information sharing between healthcare providers and law enforcement agencies. The victims were 3 9-year-old children, Evelyn Deekhouse, William Kinney, and Hallie Scruggs, and 3 adults, Catherine Kuntz, Cynthia Peake, and Mike Hill. Each victim represented years of lost potential and devastated families who would never be the same. What distinguished Nashville was the remarkable speed of response that prevented an even greater tragedy. The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department received the 911 call at 10:13 a.m., and by 10:25 a.m., just 14 minutes later, the threat was neutralized. This rapid response time demonstrated effective training protocols and coordination between dispatch and responding units. A 5-member police team approached Hale on the 2nd floor, with 2 officers each firing 4 times. The autopsy confirmed Hale was struck 4 times, once in the head, once in the torso, once in the left arm, and once in the right thigh. The precision of the response indicated professional training and controlled use of force. Investigation concluded Hale's primary motive was a quest for notoriety, targeting the school due to its Christian affiliation. The swift response likely prevented additional casualties, demonstrating effective active shooter protocols. However, workplace violence in academic settings would emerge again in Las Vegas. Anthony Polito, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, 2023. On December 6, 2023, Anthony Polito, a 67-year-old former professor, entered UNLV's Beam Hall and killed 3 faculty members before being shot dead by police. Polito held a PhD in management and had served as a professor at East Carolina University from 2001 to 2017. His impressive academic credentials made his violent transformation particularly shocking to colleagues who remembered him as a dedicated educator and researcher. He had applied for a professorship at UNLV in 2020, but was not hired. This professional rejection may have festered for years, contributing to his growing resentment. Polito was known for eccentric interests, including claims of decoding Zodiac killer messages and an obsession with Las Vegas. Former students described his unusual teaching methods and preoccupation with topics unrelated to his courses, particularly his fixation on Las Vegas trivia and history.
A mass shooting. You don't hear people say it out loud a lot, but when officers do their job each day, it is possible they may not come home.
Polito was armed with a legally purchased Taurus 9mm handgun and 11 loaded magazines. The substantial ammunition supply indicated preparation for an extended confrontation. The victims were Patricia Navarro Velez, 39, an accounting professor, and Chajan Jerry Chang, 64, a business professor. Both were respected members of the academic community, with years of service to students and the university. 2 university police detectives engaged Polito in a shootout outside Beam Hall, killing him approximately 10 minutes after the shooting began. Their quick response prevented additional casualties. Prior to the attack, he had mailed 22 letters to university personnel, with one containing harmless white powder, suggesting an attempt to create additional fear and chaos. A search of his apartment revealed ammunition, computers, and a document similar to a last will and testament, along with an eviction notice. The UNLV shooting highlighted how academic rejection and financial stress can culminate in workplace violence. Our next case takes us internationally to a shooting rooted in political tensions. Alaa Abu Dain, Merkaz Harav Seminary, Jerusalem, 2008. On March 6, 2008, Alaa Abu Dain, a 26-year-old Palestinian from East Jerusalem, entered the Merkaz Harav Yeshiva armed with an AKM assault rifle and killed 8 students before being shot dead by armed responders. Born to a Sunni Muslim family, Abu Dain was described as intensely religious, but not a member of any militant group. His transformation from ordinary resident to mass killer shocked those who knew him personally and professionally in the divided city. His motivation was linked to recent Gaza violence, where 126 Palestinians had been killed by Israeli forces in prior days. The cycle of violence that characterizes the Israeli-Palestinian conflict provided the backdrop for his radicalization. His sister indicated he was radicalized by these events. Abu Dain held an Israeli identity card, granting him freedom of movement, which allowed him to pass through security checkpoints without suspicion and access areas normally restricted to Palestinians. The attack began at 8:30 p.m. when Abu Dain entered carrying a concealed weapon in a box. He killed 3 students in the courtyard before moving to the library, where he killed 5 more and wounded 9 others. The library, traditionally a place of peaceful study, became a scene of unprecedented violence. During the 16-minute rampage, he fired between 500 to 600 rounds, indicating extensive ammunition preparation and determination to inflict maximum casualties before being stopped. The attack was stopped by Yitzhak Dadon, a yeshiva student on a nearby roof, and David Shapira, an off-duty IDF captain. Using personal firearms, they shot and killed Abu Dain at 8:46 p.m. Their intervention prevented what could have been an even greater massacre, as 17 students had barricaded themselves in an adjacent classroom. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert called the attack horrible, while Hamas praised it. A poll showed 84% Palestinian support for the attack, the highest in 15 years, highlighting political tensions and the polarized reactions that characterized the broader conflict. Abu Dain's swift death by armed civilians prevented greater casualties. The case demonstrated how trained responders can stop active shooters, but not all confrontations end so quickly, as we'll see in Texas. Charles Whitman, University of Texas Tower, Austin, 1966. On August 1, 1966, Charles Joseph Whitman, a 25-year-old University of Texas student and former Marine, conducted a 96-minute shooting spree from the campus clock tower, killing 17 and wounding 31 before being shot dead by police. Born in Florida, Whitman had experienced an abusive childhood that left lasting psychological scars. His father's violent behavior created deep trauma that would influence his later actions and contribute to his deteriorating mental state.
On August 1st, 1966, Charles Whitman climbed to the top of the UT Tower and started shooting at people on campus. By the time he was stopped about an hour and a half later, 13 people were dead and dozens wounded.
The violence began when Whitman killed his mother and wife in their homes, wanting to spare them embarrassment. These initial murders demonstrated the premeditated nature of his plan. He then loaded a footlocker with weapons, including rifles, pistols, and a shotgun. His Marine training was evident in his tactical preparation, as he selected equipment and ammunition for maximum effectiveness from an elevated position. Around 11:48 a.m., Whitman arrived at the tower, killed 3 people on the 27th floor, barricaded the stairway, and began shooting from the observation deck. From 28 floors above ground, he could target anyone on campus with devastating precision. His elevated position created a tactical nightmare for law enforcement, as conventional response methods were ineffective against a trained marksman in a fortified position. Austin police officers Houston McCoy and Ramiro Martinez, with civilian Alan Crum, made the dangerous ascent to confront Whitman. Their courage under fire was extraordinary. McCoy used a 12-gauge shotgun to fire 2 shells into Whitman's head at close range. Martinez then grabbed the shotgun and fired additional shots while straddling Whitman's body. Both officers experienced severe psychological trauma, including physical symptoms lasting weeks. An autopsy revealed a brain tumor, though its role in his violence remains debated. The tumor discovery raised questions about the relationship between brain abnormalities and violent behavior. The UT Tower shooting marked the beginning of the modern mass shooting era. Whitman's tactics would unfortunately be repeated in future attacks, including our next case involving a troubled Native American teenager. Jeff Wise, Red Lake High School, Minnesota, 2005. On March 21, 2005, Jeff Wise, a 16-year-old student at Red Lake High School on the Chippewa Reservation, killed 10 people and wounded 7 others before dying by suicide after being wounded by tribal police. Wise's father had committed suicide when Jeff was young, and his mother was disabled in a car accident. These traumatic losses created deep psychological wounds that were never properly addressed, leaving him vulnerable to depression and radicalization in the isolated reservation community. The cumulative effect of these family tragedies, combined with the historical trauma experienced by many Native American communities, created a perfect storm of grief and anger. Living with his grandfather Darrell Lussier Sr., a tribal police officer, Weiser struggled with depression and fascination with Nazi ideology. The irony of a Native American embracing Nazi ideology highlighted the contradictory nature of his radicalization. He had been hospitalized for suicidal thoughts and had a history of self-harm. His online activities revealed admiration for the Columbine shooters and participation in neo-Nazi forums, creating a dangerous combination of personal trauma and extremist ideology. This digital radicalization process allowed him to connect with like-minded individuals who reinforced his violent fantasies and provided tactical knowledge for carrying out attacks. The attack began at his grandfather's home, where Weiser shot and killed Darrell Lussier Sr. and Michelle Sigana. This betrayal of family trust was particularly shocking to the community, as his grandfather had been trying to help him overcome his struggles. He then took his grandfather's police weapons and bulletproof vest, demonstrating calculated preparation for the school attack. The theft of police equipment gave him tactical advantages and increased his lethality during the subsequent rampage. His grandfather's position in law enforcement had provided him with knowledge of police tactics and weaponry. Arriving at Red Lake High School around 2:49 p.m., Wisey shot and killed Derek Brune, an unarmed security guard, then proceeded to kill 5 students and 1 teacher. As a current student, he knew the building's layout intimately, allowing him to move efficiently through the school and target areas with maximum casualties. The victims included classmates he had known for years, highlighting the personal nature of his grievances. His methodical approach to the shooting demonstrated extensive planning and reconnaissance of the facility. Officers from Red Lake Tribal Police, FBI agents, and federal law enforcement quickly surrounded the school. The remote reservation location made coordination challenging, but response was swift despite jurisdictional complexities. The final confrontation occurred in a classroom, where Weiser barricaded himself after exchanging gunfire with officers. Wounded by police gunfire, rather than surrender, he chose suicide with a self-inflicted gunshot. His death prevented capture and interrogation that might have provided insight into his motivations. In the tight-knit reservation community, losing 10 members in one act was proportionally catastrophic. The shooting highlighted unique challenges faced by Native American communities in addressing mental health and preventing violence. The tragedy exposed gaps in mental health services and the need for culturally appropriate intervention programs. Wise's death after being wounded by police demonstrated how personal trauma and extremist ideologies can combine into devastating violence. Our next case involves another troubled young man whose attack ended similarly. Christopher Harper Mercer, Umpqua Community College, Oregon, 2015. On October 1, 2015, Christopher Sean Harper Mercer, a 26-year-old student, entered a writing class at Umpqua Community College and killed 9 people, wounding 8 others, before committing suicide after being wounded in a gunfight with police. Living with his mother in Winchester, Oregon, Harper Mercer was described as quiet and withdrawn. His social isolation had deepened over the years, leading to increasing resentment towards society and fascination with violent solutions to his perceived problems. Friends and acquaintances described him as increasingly bitter about his lack of romantic relationships and career prospects, contributing to his growing misanthropy. His online activity revealed fascination with mass shootings, particularly Columbine, and he had posted admiration for previous school shooters. This digital radicalization process demonstrated how online communities can reinforce violent ideologies. Fellow students noted his behavior had become concerning, with writing assignments containing violent themes. These academic warning signs represented missed opportunities for intervention that might have prevented the tragedy from occurring. His instructors later reported feeling uncomfortable with his creative writing submissions, but were unsure how to address their concerns through proper channels. Harper Mercer had legally acquired multiple weapons, with his mother reportedly supporting his firearms hobby. Family enablement of dangerous interests highlighted the complex dynamics that can contribute to mass violence. He arrived at the college armed with multiple handguns and a rifle, demonstrating extensive preparation for maximum lethality during his planned attack. His weapons selection showed tactical thinking about indoor combat effectiveness and ammunition capacity for sustained engagement with potential responders. The attack began around 10:38 a.m. when Harper Mercer entered a writing class and immediately began shooting. Witnesses reported he appeared to target victims based on religious beliefs, asking people to state their religion before shooting. This religious targeting added hate crime elements to the mass shooting, revealing deeper ideological motivations beyond personal grievances. His systematic questioning of victims before killing them demonstrated premeditated religious bigotry that transformed personal resentment into targeted violence against specific faith communities. Victims ranged from 18 to 67, reflecting the diverse community college population. The age range demonstrated how community colleges serve both traditional and non-traditional students. Instructor Lawrence Levine was killed while apparently trying to protect students, representing the heroic actions educators sometimes take when faced with unimaginable unimaginable danger. His sacrifice allowed several students to escape the classroom and seek safety elsewhere in the building. Officers from Douglas County Sheriff's Office and Oregon State Police converged within minutes. When officers entered the classroom, Harper Mercer engaged them in a brief gunfight before being wounded. Rather than surrender, he chose suicide with a self-inflicted gunshot. His final act denied authorities the opportunity to understand his full motivations or prevent potential copycat attacks. Like many mass shooters, Harper Mercer was motivated by personal grievances, mental illness, and desire for notoriety. His death prevented further casualties but left many questions unanswered. However, not all school shooters choose their own end, as we'll see in our next case. Adam Lanza, Sandy Hook Elementary School, Connecticut, 2012. On December 14, 2012, Adam Peter Lanza, a 20-year-old with severe mental health issues, murdered 20 first-grade children and 6 staff members at Sandy Hook Elementary School before taking his own life as police arrived. Born with Asperger's syndrome and severe social anxiety, Lanza had become increasingly reclusive. His withdrawal from society had reached extreme levels, spending most of his time isolated in his bedroom, disconnected from normal human relationships, and increasingly obsessed with violence. Mental health professionals who later studied his case described his condition as representing one of the most severe examples of untreated social isolation and obsessive behavior patterns they had encountered.
Peter Lanza also made one more startling admission. He recently stated that he wished his son had never been born.
Living with his mother Nancy, Lanza spent most time in his bedroom playing violent video games and researching mass shootings. This obsessive research included creating detailed spreadsheets of previous attacks, studying methodologies and casualty counts with academic precision. Despite his deteriorating mental state, Nancy had introduced him to firearms and regularly took him shooting. This decision to provide weapons access to someone with severe mental health issues would prove catastrophic. Nancy had mistakenly believed that shared activities like shooting would help her connect with her increasingly isolated son, not realizing she was providing him with the means for mass murder. The violence began when Lanza shot and killed his mother while she slept, using a .22 caliber rifle. This matricide eliminated the only person who might have stopped his plans or alerted authorities to his intentions. He then drove to Sandy Hook Elementary, arriving at 9:35 a.m., armed with a Bushmaster rifle, 2 handguns, and hundreds of rounds. His methodical preparation indicated extensive planning for maximum casualties among the youngest possible victims. The choice to target first graders specifically reflected his desire to inflict maximum psychological trauma on the community and ensure maximum media coverage for his actions. Lanza forcibly entered by shooting through locked glass doors, setting off the security system. Principal Dawn Hochsprung and psychologist Mary Sherlach became his first victims when they investigated the gunfire. Their heroic response to danger cost them their lives, but alerted others to the threat, allowing some staff members to implement lockdown procedures that saved additional lives. The school's PA system broadcast the initial sounds of gunfire, warning teachers throughout the building to secure their classrooms. In approximately 11 minutes, Lanza fired 154 rounds, killing 20 children aged 6 to 7. The systematic targeting of first graders represented unprecedented evil in American school violence. Teacher Victoria Soto was killed while trying to shield her students, demonstrating the courage educators show when protecting those in their care. Her actions allowed several children to escape through a bathroom window while she faced the gunman alone. When officers arrived and began searching, they found Lanza's body in a classroom, having died from a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. He had reserved a single bullet for himself, demonstrating the calculated nature of his suicide plan. The targeting of such young children made this tragedy particularly devastating and sparked intense debates about gun control and school security. Unlike Lanza's solitary planning, our final case involved 2 shooters whose partnership created unprecedented carnage. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, Columbine High School, Colorado, 1999. On April 20th, 1999, Eric David Harris, 18, and Dylan Bennett Klebold, 17, conducted a meticulously planned attack at Columbine High School that killed 13 and wounded 24 before ending in their joint suicide. Both were considered outsiders who had formed a friendship based on shared resentments and fascination with Nazi ideology. Their partnership amplified their individual grievances, creating a dangerous dynamic where each reinforced the other's violent fantasies and pushed toward increasingly extreme planning. The symbiotic relationship between the two allowed them to overcome individual inhibitions against mass violence, with each providing encouragement and tactical support for their shared delusions of grandeur and revenge against perceived enemies.
The investigation into the high school massacre is slow-moving and dangerous. The two gunmen who went on the rampage booby-trapped the building and even themselves.
Well, Roz, they wore black trench coats, combat boots, and some wore Nazi crosses.
April 20th was chosen as Hitler's birthday, with experts noting the significance of this date in violent history. The symbolic importance of the date reflected their ideological motivations and desire to create a lasting legacy of terror. Their original plan involved detonating propane bombs in the cafeteria during lunch, potentially killing hundreds. This terrorist-style attack would have been far deadlier than what actually occurred, representing one of the largest domestic terrorism attempts in American history. When the bombs failed to explode, they proceeded with a shooting rampage, adapting their plan while maintaining their commitment to maximum carnage and chaos throughout the school building.
People were getting shot all around me.
Witnesses say they laughed as they fired their weapons, executing their classmates who begged for their lives.
The systematic targeting and celebration of violence revealed the depth of their hatred and complete dehumanization of their victims. The library became their primary killing site, where they murdered 10 people. This location held particular significance as a place where they felt marginalized by more popular students, making it a symbolic target for their revenge fantasies.
And his final entry in an AOL chat room, which was posted yesterday morning at 8:41, read, "Today is my last day on Earth."
This final message demonstrated their commitment to suicide as the ultimate conclusion of their attack. At 12:08 p.m., both committed suicide in the library, Harris shooting himself through the mouth with his shotgun, Klebold shooting himself in the temple with his Tech-9. Their planned deaths denied authorities the opportunity for justice or full understanding of their motivations, while ensuring they would achieve the notoriety they desperately sought. The timing of their suicides, occurring before law enforcement could mount an effective assault, reflected their desire to control the narrative and conclude their attack on their own terms. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.